Ladies and gentlemen, the show we've all been waiting for, Paranormal Buzz Radio is proud to present REP Paranormal and Friends with your hosts, Kim Purvis and Allison Robinson. Live every Thursday night on Spreaker, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. Be sure to check out their Facebook page, REP Paranormal Busters.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast by the host or the guest do not necessarily reflect the views of Paranormal Buzz Radio or its sponsors. Use of any material produced by Paranormal Buzz Radio without express written consent is strictly prohibited. For information on everything Paranormal Buzz Radio has to offer, visit our website, paranormalbuzzradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Listener discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome to another night of REP Paranormal and Friends. Sorry about the delay, we're having a little technical difficulties, but we do have an awesome guest for you tonight. We have Gail Hayssen tonight. She is an author, a psychic, a remote viewer, and a telepath, and many more awesome things. So please give a warm welcome to Gail. Thank you for joining us tonight. Yes, absolutely. I'm super excited to hear about all your stories and things. I was kind of reading up on some of all these different things that you have done, and I'm very excited to kind of dig into this. So before we start, why don't you give a little bit of background on yourself and how did you know you had these abilities? Yeah.
This is supposed to be. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. But I was right. Yeah, exactly. This has got to be moving too. It's this
I know.
one. That's her. Mm-hmm.
And experience, you were taught all of these things that now I come to learn is really called remote viewing, or where you could go to a place and distantly heal someone. And that was pretty much the focus of taking this particular course, would be that at the end of the 2 weekends, you'd be able to be told the name and the age and the city of where someone lived, and you could go and meet their body in your little workshop in your mind and tell them what's wrong with their body and what's going on, and then you would work on healing them by sending light or covering them in white light or water or gold or whatever things you felt. And so that was where I ended up having more experiences like this, because I was doing these, they were called cases, and I was doing hundreds of them, and I was doing them in front of audiences in hotels, because it was a way of selling this course.
Right.
And they'd say, and in 2 weekends you could do what Gail just did, told you all about your friend, and all she knew was the name and the age, and never met them, and the person isn't even in the room.
Right.
So that would be a selling point. I just had a natural affinity for all of that. And so I was then given tools, and I was 16 years old when I took this course. So I was very young. And that showed me that I was able to, reach out and connect to people in distant places and find out information that wasn't really readily available to me.
And so that's kind of like the remote viewing, correct? Telepath? Oh, you can't hear me? Now you can't hear us. Oh my gosh. Can you hear me now? No? I'm gonna...
Love these technical difficulties.
Can you hear me now?
Can hear you now. No visual, but I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know where I...
Slide the camera back. There you go.
Up.
Yep.
Hello? Oh, now I'm gone. I don't know. Maybe I have to hold my camcorder now, my camera. Oh my goodness. I don't know what's going on. So when you have that, is that what you would call the remote viewing?
That is definitely, I never called it remote viewing then, because that wasn't the term.
Right, but that's...
That would be just like remote viewing.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that's what I was wondering. All right, so you had all these. Did it ever... Okay, so I have a question for you. This is a little weird, but I have dreamt of places that I've never been before. I visually knew the whole layout of these places, and I'd never been there, never seen them before. How could I dream?
There's two thoughts on that. One of them is, if we believe in reincarnation, and we believe that we've been here before, maybe not necessarily in the same body, maybe not even necessarily a female like you are now, could have been to the place that way, or you could have gone there in a state of sleep or dream, where you went to see a place and you actually, just like a remote viewing, you were in your dreamlike state, but your consciousness went to that place and saw that place.
Okay.
So it's hard to know between the two. I know there's sometimes when I've been to very old places where, it feels like you were there in some lifetime, but you're not sure exactly when, but you have such an affinity for the place, or you feel like home, there's different things like that. And I don't know, I can't answer whether, I'm not dead yet, so I can't answer whether I'm going to reincarnate. All I can say is that I know I've had experiences with people who are deceased, and I don't know if I'm hitting on their consciousness or if I'm, if there's some kind of, people call it Akashic records. I'm not exactly sure the answer. I just know there's more out there than meets the eye.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I've noticed that too lately. Like, I've been dreaming of people that were in my life at a certain point but have passed on that I've never really dreamt about, but recently have been in my dreams.
Well, for me, I just had one of those on December 1st. And it was with somebody who was very, very dear to me that I knew since I was 11 years old. And she died during COVID up at the town of Woodstock in
Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
So I had said to her I would be there for her family when that time came because I was their babysitter, so I knew her children before they became mothers. And because of COVID, we didn't get to be together. And on December 1st, it was her birthday, and she had been passed away for, I think it's 2 years. And I have this powerful dream, and the dream is so powerful that when I wake up, I'm filled with the emotion of her, and I feel like my whole body feels like we've just been together.
Oh, wow.
Even though I know that she's gone, even though I know this. And she sends me this sort of information. We have this kind of exchange. And when I wake up from that type of a dream, I'm deeply emotional. And I feel that when I have those kind of dreams where I really feel a connection to the person that deep, excuse me, I feel some sort of connection was made, but I can't answer where is it that we made this connection. Was it her spirit, her soul? I'm not sure. I'm only sure that her essence and I were so together that I could see her as clear as day in the dream. But when I woke up, I could not stop the dream. Like for the whole day, I felt like she was with me the entire day. So that's I go by the intensity of how the dream makes me feel to let me know how it is.
Okay.
I'm wondering if I should switch to these earbud things.
It might help a little bit.
Might help because I noticed there are people in my house, and I don't think they realize I'm on a call with you. So
that's all right.
Put it on, and let's see if this makes a difference for us.
Okay.
Some people say,
"Oh, there."
Okay, so I'm going to go over here.
I can hear you. Hopefully, everyone else
can. And here
can.
we have iPods. Okay, Gail's iPod Pro earbuds. Okay. Now, I'm not hearing anything. Are you hearing me?
I can hear you. I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. All right. Well, it's not working with these, so I think you're hearing me on the regular speaker.
Okay, that's
okay. So we'll just stick with that.
We'll just stick with that. Yeah.
That's my feeling about dreams and information that comes through dreams. And you know how that is sometimes where you don't remember a dream and then you're walking around your house and you see something and the whole dream comes back to you?
Yes.
I feel those are important dreams. You're not supposed to ignore that dream.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah, I've had several of those where I just, some dreams you'll kind of remember, then you wake up, you're like, I'll remember that in the morning, and then you don't. But then there's these ones, these last couple of ones that I've had that have just kind of stuck with me.
Yes.
And I'm just trying to interpret them. I'm not sure exactly. One was, And they always happen before I go on an investigation, these recent ones. Like a couple days prior to an event we were doing, I had a dream about my grandmother who passed away many years ago, over like 20 years ago. Never dreamt about her. Had a dream about her. She was smiling at me and my parents. Didn't say anything. And then another investigation a couple days prior to that, I had a dream about that location, but there was 2 classmates of mine who have passed.
Excuse me 1 second.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey, I'm on a call here, and all I'm hearing is you guys talking and it's lost, so everyone's here. So you can go in the other room. Sorry, this must be our crazy call day.
That's okay. That's okay. And so like I was saying, I had this dream about 2 classmates. One of them I've known since I was very, very little. Grew up with them. The other one I didn't know as well, but she was an acquaintance. I knew who she was, talked to her in passing. But they both showed up at this location that we were investigating, and I'm like, I go, Robert, why are you here? And he's like, I don't know, you tell me. And then the gal, she never said anything, but she was there the whole time. I don't know why they were there. It was very bizarre to me, but one of them had passed away a few years ago. The other one was just within the last year. So it was very interesting to me. I don't know exactly why they were there, why I'm starting to dream about people that have passed.
Well, I always ask them if they have a message.
Uh-huh.
Is there anything they wanted you to tell someone else? Because I've had dreams where when a friend of mine's mother had passed away, I hadn't seen her in a zillion years, and I couldn't believe I was the person she came to after she passed.
Oh, my gosh.
Know that she was okay, and to please call her son and let him know that everything was fine, not to worry, that she was fine. And it just, so when I get those, I just call the person up and I say, I had this dream and it was a message for me to give you from your mother. And I just want you to know this is what she said. And that's how I feel about that. With you dreaming about 2 different friends, I don't know if they're trying to get your attention about something or if there's more investigating work they want you to do wherever you were going to do investigating. Sure, but I always feel like when somebody like that comes to me in a dream, I take it as some kind of message that there's something for me to look at.
Right, yeah, that's kind of what I thought, but I guess I'll see if they pop up again or something. I'm not really sure. It was just bizarre. I've never had dreams like that before, so.
Oh, well, I have them a lot. I'll tell you what's the word. What's not such a great thing about some of them is when I experience their death when they're dying.
Ooh, yeah.
And so my body goes through whatever physical something they're going through, and I'm not even aware that they're dying at that moment. But all of a sudden I'm, either I'm throwing up or I can't breathe or whatever it is that they're experiencing, I start experiencing in my body. And that came a little later in life. I didn't have that all the other times. I would just have more like what you're saying, where they come to visit in a dream. But the experiencing what they're going through at the same time in my body, that can be a little exhausting. But
oh yeah,
that too.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I kind of thought, but I wasn't sure. I'm just like, I'll ask somebody about it when it comes to, but we'll see if any more pop up. And I'll go from there, and then I'll just make sure that I ask them if they have a message that they need me to pass along.
Exactly. Or they might, you may even talk to them and say, everybody's doing good here. Is there, just like a regular kind of conversation.
Right, absolutely. Let's see here. Okay, so I had a question, if I can read my chicken scribbles here. But how can you decipher between a dream and that you're doing like remote viewing? How can you decipher the 2?
Well, they're completely 2 different things. Because for me in dreaming, I may see the future. So I don't really consider it exactly like remote viewing. Because remote viewing, it's when I'm doing an intentional focus. And I'm saying, when I'm doing remote viewing, usually it's with a scientist or I'm a subject in an experiment. I don't necessarily just do kind of random remote viewing on my own just to do random remote viewing. I've done it because it's sort of like, I guess you could think of it almost like a little task or a little, you're asked to do this specific thing, which is to look at, like, say, the ones I did at Interval Research with Dean Radin and
that's another question I was going to ask you. Yeah,
Russell Targ would be what they call, I think it's called precognitive. There's many different types of remote viewing. It was remote viewing, which, by the way, I've never been trained in remote viewing, but it's something I do that they call remote viewing. So I don't have any specific coordinates, or they're all different kinds like this. I just do, in this precognitive, is they would tell me at 3:00 the computer is going to select a random photo with a random number generator. So this is a double-blind experiment. Nobody knows what photo is going to be picked. Photo is then selected at 3, but at 1:00 I would sit down with Russell, who's just an amazing guy to do these sort of things with, and he will just say, well, look up, look down, look around, just draw or tell me what you see. That's all. You don't have to think about it, which is the worst thing to do, is to think about it. You don't have to name what the thing is. Just tell me the colors, the object, what does it feel like? And if you take your mind and put it to the side so it doesn't interfere, and you let the information that kind of comes up to you, or you either, for me it's auditory, you hear it or you see it, whichever way it comes for you, you have to quickly catch that because it fleets by very quickly. It's not like for me, that's how it is. It's not like I'm sitting there and thinking it's the Eiffel Tower. It's not like that. Instead, I'll say, oh, wow, there's a repetitious pattern going up something very, very tall. So, that's how they teach you in remote viewing, to never state the item like that, but to describe. Okay. And the whole idea is to relax. I believe everyone can do remote viewing. I don't think it's a special thing that only certain people can do. I think everyone can do it. It just has to do with being able to relax and let your mind not interfere with the other information that's out there and readily available to everybody. I just had no idea that I could do this into the future until they had me do this type of an experiment.
Right, yes.
So what would happen is I would then draw. I don't draw very well, so I would write the things and tell them what I was drawing. And then the target would come up a couple hours later. It would be judged and decided whether that I really hit the target or I didn't hit the target. And that was the type of remote viewing I had done when I first started in 1998. Wow. So I've done all kinds of different remote viewing since then. But that was a very interesting one. I always learn something about how they're looking for different data and scientific things and statistics because they're dealing with science. Right. I'm only looking for my experience and what did I learn from it. And I've learned so many different things about myself by doing this with them. Even just the other day, I was really getting that. I really get a conceptual feeling of the target. I find I get more emotional about if there's water or things, and if there's parts of the target that affect me, the colors. I find that after I do it and you do get a good hit, you always feel, I always feel kind of a surprise, wow, it worked, Right, yeah. I sit there and say, I can remote view anything that you ever give me or any target. I don't know if it will work every time. Right. None of things work every time, but I have a good enough record that scientists have used me over and over again, and some of my remote viewing has been shown to the Navy in a talk at the Naval Academy. I'm in a couple of books, so I know that what I'm doing is what they're looking for. But I had not done anything like that since I left that mind dynamics and doing cases as a teenager. I didn't do anything with working with other people. I only let whatever natural things happened to me happened for like the next 30 years or something.
Uh-huh.
Well, I met Dean and Russell, and that's when I decided, okay, this is for science. There's no money involved.
Mm-hmm.
They're not selling me to somebody.
Right.
This is the right thing for me. And
Mm-hmm.
it's opened up a whole new world. I've met the most interesting people. It really has. Remote viewing has opened up a whole other wonderful collection of people that came into my life from that.
Right, yeah. And like, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. Is it the Indians? The
show?
Yes.
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 Indians, yes.
Yes. Yes. How did you come about getting in their graces? Like, how did you become part of them?
Good pick. Good question, because it came from a dream.
Yes.
So here's where a dream changed my life.
Uh-huh.
That's how much I feel about how important a dream is.
Mm-hmm.
Really, it has to do with whether the person who's had the dream listens or not. So I had a dream that there was this man, and he was waiting for me to meet him at this Hanuman temple in Taos, New Mexico.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
I live in Northern California. I woke up from the dream. My sisters were visiting from New York. The rest of my family lives in New York. And my sisters were here, and my daughter was about, I think she might have been 10 or 12 or something. I'm not sure at the time.
Mm-hmm.
No, she must have been under 10. And I wake up from the dream, and it's such a strong dream that I tell my sisters, I have to buy an airplane ticket. I have to go to New Mexico tomorrow. I have to go to this temple. Somebody wait there for me to meet. And I followed this crazy dream. It was one of the crazier things I've done.
Oh, my gosh.
I just dropped everything, and I went to New Mexico, and my life changed. I ended up at the Hanuman temple, and they were having this big celebration called the Bandara, I think.
Uh-huh.
It's a Hindu celebration where a few hundred people were there in this little small town, but everyone came for this event, and it has to do with like a lot of food and festive and marigold flowers. And there's this the monkey god, the Hanuman monk, I think that's the monkey god, is inside the temple, and he's all decorated in flowers, and it's this whole honoring thing. So I went there at the right time to this temple, and I had known about the place because I'd met them at a retreat I was at with Ram Dass.
Mm-hmm.
And during the retreat, I'd had this Kundalini experience, and they said, we're in New Mexico. If you ever want to come visit us, or you ever have any more of these experiences, please call us. You're always welcome. So I took their invitation, and I went to this thing, and within 10 minutes of being there, I see this man in the distance. And I had only once seen a Huichol event, so I didn't know anything about Huichols, but I did see he was dressed in embroidered clothing. I had no idea he didn't speak English, because I just started talking to him about how I was sure he was the man in my dream, and I was supposed to meet him, and la la la. And then he says, "Well, I don't speak English." And we end up with my broken Spanish. We have this communication, which ended up in until he passed on, we were friends from that day on. He came and stayed with us here in California and did his art. He was here doing Huichol art for a museum. And he said, we'll invite you sometime to come down to Mexico. And one day I got the invitation, and they said that we're having the peyote ceremony,
Uh-huh.
and we would like you to come. And so I flew down to Mexico instantly with the 1 day notice.
Oh my gosh.
And I ended up, on burros hiking, 16 hours up into the mountains, into the Sierra Madre Occidental. And I ended up meeting up all these wonderful Huichol people. I was the only white person there. And I was taken in like a family member and have been involved with them since that. And that was in the 80s.
Oh, wow.
And I've done, whatever I can to help. I've, contributed money for buying like 1.5 tons of masa to feed all the peyoteros when I was there. The only people, I've made 6 trips there, and you do need to present yourself and be invited. It's not an area you can just say, I'm going to go to the beach. It doesn't work like that. And right now I have our dear friend Julio, who was my first friend Miguel that I met in Taos, it's his cousin. And he comes up and visits and stays with us. And we've been doing this together for over 20 years.
Oh, wow.
So it's a long term. My son is 31 years old, and he was blessed by the Huichols when he was a 7 or 8 month old baby when some of the shamans were here visiting.
Oh,
so he has a Huichol named Matsua.
Uh-huh.
And he's been invited down there many times to come and meet. There are people who've always wanted to meet him. So I have this very long, nice, wonderful relationship with a very beautiful people. And I try to do whatever I can to help. And my house is always open for any of them to come here when they're coming through. Or, now with COVID, it's a lot different. But we've had a lot of Huichols here at the house.
So when was it that you walked across those hot coals? And how did that feel on your feet? Like, I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I could do that. Like, I've seen it done, but I'm like, holy hell, that probably burned like a mother.
That's exactly how I felt. In all these things, spoon bending, hot coal walking, any of these things, I always approach it with, a little bit of skepticism, like, I'm not sure how this is really going to work. Or does this person know what they're doing, or should I be doing this? This was a case where I was involved in a shamanism conference for about 15 years. And this woman, Ruth Inga Hines, would bring shamans in from all over the world. So you would have this, I call it like a smorgasbord of shamans. Uh-huh. In a 3-day conference, you could see shamans from, South America, shamans from Asia, shamans from Mexico, and they would all share a ceremony or, part of their culture. So what I did was I had a building in the back I live in a big piece of property, and I had a building in the back, and it was used as storage, and I reconverted it into a place to have ceremonies. So I would invite them to come to my house after the conferences were over, before they had to go back to whichever country they came from, if they'd like to do some small, intimate, instead of 100 people, have like 12 people. Mm-hmm. And one of them was this woman, Vladimira, who came from Russia and I think she was doing like a lot of Siberian shamanism, and she had incredible rituals that she did. So she would come and do these rituals at my house when she'd come in, once or twice a year to the country. Mm-hmm. So one day she says, I'll tell you, we did rituals where you laid on your stomach and hot wax was poured along your spine and slowly dripped down so that you could release the energies of the whether it's your DNA or invisible, but the things that you held from your ancestors in your body that you're carrying with you. So it was like you would get these visions as the hot wax was poured down your back, and you would release these images of family or relatives so that they could all go on and, be peaceful. Mm-hmm. She had another one where we had to be blindfolded, and I have a 15-acre apple orchard, and all these people were walking around with blindfolds amongst the trees, and she would just be guiding with her voice. She wasn't blindfolded. She was watching us all, and we all walked around sensing feeling the energy around you. Then she...
Uh-oh. Oh, we lost your sound.
Again.
We lost your sound. Hang on. Yep, hang on a second. I don't know what's going on.
Can you hear me?
There we go.
There we go. Now I can. All of a sudden, I saw your mouth moving, but then there was no sound again. You can't hear. Oh, my frick sakes.
Lost you again. I'm not sure if you can hear me.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You can hear me.
Yeah. Can
I continue on the story? But I can't hear you. Okay, so the rest of the story. The rest of the story is. And I think the whole process, none of your audience should go out there and do what I'm explaining we did. I think there's something in the power of the person who's conducting it, whether it's a shaman or a hot cold professional, I'm not sure, but there's something they bring to the table that protects you. I think if you were to lay down a bed of coals and just go running across it yourself, chances are you may get burned. I'm not
So I'm not
Yeah.
suggesting anyone do this. But if Vladimira comes to your house, then I can tell you she does a great job. So my son laid out the coals, and we had about 8 or 10 people here, and the coals had to go for hours and hours. He kept having to feed this fire, and it was sort of the shape of a rectangle, about, 5 or 6 feet wide and 10 or 12 feet long. And when she looked and decided, we did all kind of ceremony on the other side, inside, for this coal walking. And we were chanting, and we did, some lovely things together and some singing. And then when she said the time was right, she said, now we're going to do this. And my son, who said he'd participate, and he was, raking the coals, he did not. Shoes off. He said, I cannot do this. I'm not going to participate, Ma. He said, but I'll take care of it for you. And he filmed it and took pictures of it. I was a little nervous myself. I had my friends come through with her, and the look on their face of empowerment when they came to the other end of the coals was very exciting to see, and the amount of joy they felt. So I was still standing there hesitating, and Vladimira just takes my arm and she says, Gail, let's go. And we go rushing through the coals. And I think I did it about half a dozen times after that. It was so exhilarating. And, if you take just a little burning match head, just with the flame is off, and you touch your finger, it hurts. I cannot tell you why there was no pain. There was no hotness. There was, it just, I don't know. It was like you were one with the coals, and it did not burn you in any way. And it was very exhilarating, and you felt very transformed from doing the experience.
Oh, wow.
And it immediately helped me the next day, because the next day we went horseback riding at the beach, because we don't live far from the Pacific Ocean here, like a 20-minute drive. And when we got out on the horses, and I've been on, horses maybe 6 times in my life, where somebody's, moving it around with taking you on it, or I've never gone galloping off into the fields or anything. When I'm on the horse, it collapses.
Oh my gosh.
And if I had not been in that state of powerful presence that you had after doing this coal walking the night before, my leg would have been crushed. The people behind me, when they saw how fast the horse collapsed, they all were thinking, we're going to have to take her on an ambulance. And instead, I somehow got my foot out of the stirrup. I was standing up when the horse collapsed instead of falling down underneath him with him. And it was just like I was one with the horse.
Wow.
And I don't believe I could have done that had I not had coal walking the night before.
Wow.
And then I was told the reason that happens is very rare, that you're on the body of the horse. The woman said to me at the stable, "Oh, you must be a spiritual person." They don't do that with a person on him. It's the shedding season, and they like to scratch their underbelly, but they don't usually do that when a person is sitting on top of them. So that's all the horse was trying to do. He was fine. He got back up and, went on down to the rest of the beach. So on my audio, I can't hear you, but I am here.
Okay, let me see if I can get this here real quick. Let's see. I don't know what the hell's going on. Can you hear me now? Anything? Anything. Bueller. If you can, let's. Oh my god. Okay, let's see here. What do you? There it goes. Let's see here. Can you hear me now? Nope. Can you hear me now?
I don't understand.
Can you hear me? No? Oh my frick. I doubt it. Let's see. How about now? Can you hear me?
Nothing.
How about now? Can you hear me? Hello, Bueller. Hello? I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay. All right. Here we go. We're back in business, folks. I tell you what, I don't know what happened. All her settings are just so screwy on the computer right now. I'm not. Yeah, it could have been that, is what I'm thinking. All right. We do have some questions that have been coming in through chat, but before I get to those, I wanted to kind of touch base on your experiences with, you talked about the spoon bending and then also the table tipping. Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah, I can see that. Holy smokes. You annihilated that.
And you would hold the device in your hand like this, and you would start as a group. There was, I think, maybe 100 people there doing this at the time, and you start rubbing the utensil with your fingers.
Uh-huh.
And as you focus your attention on it, and you say to it, not just quietly, you're screaming at the item, bend, 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 and you're just rubbing the metal. And all of a sudden, it's this moment which you just have to know, in that moment when you feel it, it's like the metal turns to liquid. And this solid object that you see twisted around twice and bent all these different directions, I can't unbend it back anymore.
Oh my gosh.
In that moment, it felt like I was seeing molecules or something, and that everything was liquid jumping around. And that's when I just went like this and twirled it, and the fork just twirled around twice effortlessly.
Holy crap.
Touched the tongs, and they would just bend right down. So I'm not particularly a bender where I can do this anytime I find a piece of silverware, but I know that this can be done because I did it. And I saw other people doing it. And there are some people, just like in remote viewing or piano playing or sports, there's some people who have a talent for that for them, I know this woman, she bends bars of steel, and she can just take the bar and just go like this.
Oh my gosh.
It's just, and she didn't know until she took this class also that she was a bender. It wasn't like she thought in her mind, yes, this is my goal, I want to be able to bend things. It was just, oh, let's try this. And, that would be one of the things I would say to your audience. Be skeptical, but be open, and see for your own self how this might work for you, and that the possibility could be that you can bend or that you can be psychic. You have to first be open to the possibilities. And I can tell you firsthand that this is a true thing. You really can do this. I did come home back then. This was about, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago. And I had my kids in here bending silverware, and I have silverware everywhere. The table tipping was another story. A dear friend of mine, Dr. Stanley Krippner, who's, if you're interested in dreams, he's written many, many books on dreams. He ran the Dream Lab at the Maimonides Center in Brooklyn back in the 50s when they were waking people up from their dreams to try to figure out what was going on in the dream world. So he called me up and said, I have a friend here and a couple people, and we want to do table tipping after we saw this movie at one of the parapsychology conferences, I think. And it was in Russia, and it was this Russian psychic man, rotating this table around. And he said, we want to try and see if we can really do that. So I thought the same thing. Oy vey, table tipping, how silly could this be? Would this really happen or whatever? So we went and met in his friend's basement, who was a lawyer. And I think 3 of these people were in their 80s. And there was a French medium, myself, and 2 scientists. The 2 scientists joined later. And when we started, we sort of needed to create some kind of connection because none of us knew each other. And we just started by sitting at a round table in his basement, placing our hands on this table, and just focusing that we wanted the table to raise. And then we started realizing that there were other things we sort of needed to do in there, which is we added happy, upbeat music. We decided to just talk lightly and happily about things, and that at the same time be focusing that we wanted this table to raise. And sure enough, after a few tries, the table started to vibrate. Then on the next session, the table started to rock. By the time we'd been doing this for 6 months, I think to a year, I can't remember how long, the table started moving around in the guy's basement.
Oh my gosh.
And we would have our hands on the table, but the table would have its own direction of where it wanted to go. And there were times I was worried the table was going to hurt one of our elderly people because it was slamming down so hard into our legs. And it was a heavy table. And so when we ended up with the table that was walking around, someone suggested we go from a 40-pound table, which was rocking, to a table that was more a smaller table like you see in some of these videos of people doing table tipping. There's a lot of fakes out there, and there's a lot of, videos you'll see that aren't real. I'm telling you from experience what I experienced was very real. There is some kind of combination where I feel spirit is entering at the same time in these table tippings we were doing. So we weren't exactly necessarily asking for a specific spirit to come in, and their whole focus was only for the table to go, but we'd end up having temperature changes in the room, like it would get freezing cold in there or incredibly hot, and this would not have anything to do with the weather or their heating system or any window being open. All the windows were sealed. Breezes would come blowing through there, and we would have experiences where the 3 of us would be seeing the same sort of an image of someone being there and getting sort of information about that person. So I feel like 2 things were happening. I don't know if the spirit was partaking and that's how he was talking to us through the table, or if the spirits that were just sort of coming in besides this. We did get to a point where the table was many inches off the floor, but only on the side, like 2 legs would still be down, but not. It was not satisfying the gentleman who was trying to do this experiment. He wanted it to go straight directly up. So we were working toward the straight directly up experience, but then COVID hit, and the idea of gathering together with people over there, in this, we had to be very careful.
Right.
So we've not been able to see each other in the last 2 years, but one of the scientists did start writing up papers of exactly each moment and time and when the activity started to come faster and faster. And if you read up about table tipping, you'll see there's something about forming a group that you do the same thing with over and over again. So we did it like once a month, and each time we met, we had stronger and stronger and faster responses with the table.
Wow. It
was fascinating, and I have to say, the first time it happened, I went into hysterics of laughter. Everybody went into laughter. We couldn't stop laughing. I was laughing the whole way home because it was like the most, I'm not sure why it made a laughter type exhilarated feeling.
Mm-hmm.
When that table starts to rock uncontrollably like that, and your hands are just resting gently on top of it, it's pretty fun.
I bet it is.
It is. In fact, I had said I think we need a candle because I believe spirit sees candle and the flame. So we put a candle in the middle of the table, and it flung across. It nearly could have caught Stanley on. I don't think it was Stanley, it was the other fellow. But the wax covered all over them, and none of us was throwing a candle at anybody,
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So I don't know if there's anything else about the table tipping I could tell you. It's been a new recent experience for me, but I really enjoyed, doing this with these people.
Yeah, that would be amazing to witness.
I did take a video of it once. Couldn't figure out because we were doing these things in the dark.
Oh, yeah.
They had put glow sticks on the edges of the table, taped them on, so that you could see the glow sticks swaying in the darkness.
Wow.
But at one point I said, let's just flip the light on for a second and see if it works even in light. That's when I got some good footage, but it's not footage. It's footage that any skeptic could say, well, we can't see those other two people. It's not footage I would ever share because there's too many things in the picture that could make you think, oh, what if something was going on the side? But for me, it was wonderful to have that footage because I was sitting there knowing that was really happening.
Wow. That's amazing. I've heard about table tipping, but I've never really experienced it. And I just, I wonder, some of that stuff you see, you don't know if they're, faking it or what, but it's
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you can go online or anywhere and find out about the table tipping because I think it started in 1868 or something like that, or 1875. I don't remember the years, but there were large groups of people that were faking it, and there were some groups that were not faking it. And there were skeptics who busted the ones that were setting up things under the table and making it all happen. But there were people that, if you want to try it, you could just go online and check out what they say, whether it should be in a dark room. For us, we found having music playing. We had a candle. We didn't go pitch black dark or anything. And we used the same spot and the same people. And we switched the table midway to a different type table, more of a smaller, lightweight table. You could try this. You could find 3 friends or someone that that would be interested, or anyone in your audience could do that. And just sit there each time on a set thing. For us, I think it was on Tuesdays. I don't remember. And have your thing and just see what happens just for the fun of it. And just go into it lightheartedly, not with any heavy, oh, it has to happen, and see what happens.
Yeah. Kim, where'd you go? We need to try that some night.
What?
We're going to do some table tipping.
Table tipping?
We are.
And we liked using wood table.
Wood table? Okay.
Yeah, but I'm sure you can use anything you want, but that would be my few things I would use. I would use a wood table. It shouldn't be, like 20 pounds or, something like that. It doesn't have to be giant. And we did experiments differently with our hands. Like, did we get more of a reaction if our hands were touching each other by the tips? Was it better to have our hands further back? So there are things you can figure on your own as you're trying it. And it really was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think it would be fun. That's why Kim and I need to try it some night. We need to get somebody else with us, and we're going to try some table tipping.
Okay.
So maybe if any of our guests want to join us some night, we'll have to pick a night, try it out a few times, and see what happens. All right, so we do have some questions in chat here, so I'm going to kind of go through a couple of those before we start to wrap things up. I gotta get into some light.
I'll try my best. If I can't answer it, I'll just say I don't know the answer. But if I do,
that's perfectly fine. Yep. All right, let's see here. I have to read my writing. I have terrible writing. They want to know if you do any astro projecting.
What do they mean by that?
Darren?
You mean, do I go to another place while I'm still here?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The last times that I did astral projecting was I was experimenting with the fact that I used to do it as a kid, and I wanted to see whether I could still do that as an adult. And so what I tried was first leaving and just being in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Then I tried going above my house. Then I went above my city.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went above California. And I had a very wonderful experience doing this and realizing that, yes, I really could go out and see this all from sort of an aerial view, even though I was laying in my bed in Sebastopol. But it's not something that I do, sit there, concentrate and say, oh, yes, I want to go travel to this place. Sometimes I feel like I all of a sudden just get propelled somewhere. All of a sudden I feel like I feel like just over there, right? That kind of a thing, but that's not an intentional one. The one that I'm speaking about was intentional, where I said, I wonder if I could go further or further. Could I go above the planet, or could I go? And it was a very exciting experience. I really enjoyed it, but it's not something that's not like my thing that I do intentionally like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, good to know. All right, so then they had another question here. They want to know what causes deja vu.
What do they think causes deja vu? I don't know, except a feeling of knowingness, like you've been there before. Is this because we're all old souls and we've been in this lifetime and other lifetimes? I'm not sure. But to me, that's one of the possibilities for that.
Okay.
The deja vu is, like you're sure you've been there, or there's people where they go places and like they know what's the next room, they know where the next, the Buddhists do this with their young, when they're looking for the Lama or the monk or whatever the position is going to be. They want to see whether that child can recognize the bowl or the plate or the cup of the person they think that this child has been reincarnated from. They seem to recognize all the possessions that belong to one particular person. They feel that would be the person who has reincarnated.
I do. I feel like I did for a while there, where, you dream and you'd be like, okay, I've already done this. Like, I've already done this, or, I know what's going to happen next. Like, there was like a whole spell, like for like, I don't know, like a month straight. Like every dream, it seemed like, okay, I've already done all this. Like, why? But I hadn't.
So what you should do, which you may be doing already, but is you should write those dreams down.
Yes, I know. I've been told so many times.
Yes.
Yes. They're like, you need to write down your dreams. You need to write down all this stuff. And then I'm like, I'm going to do it. And then I haven't yet. But
just leave that pen and a pad next to your bed, because that's the only way you'll do it, is if you do it before you get out of the bed. I have to say, I don't write down my dreams that often, except when they're very powerful ones. But when I was, I had cancer in my 30s, and I was in a 9-day silent meditation retreat with Joseph Goldstein. It was a Vipassana meditation in Hawaii. And one of the rules when you sign in is, you can't speak to anybody, you can't make phone calls, you can't do any of the things. You're signing to, that these are the rules. Well, one of the rules, because I'm a rule breaker, I know that from the beginning, you were not to write down your dreams or anything. You weren't supposed to be journaling or any of this, because they're getting you out of your mind and into a different, place. I understand. But I was dealing with cancer at the time, and I needed to write my dreams down. And when I look back at that after I healed from the cancer and I read those dreams, they didn't make sense to me when I was writing them down then. But when I reread them years later, surviving that and then seeing what was sent to me in the dreams, they all made sense. And I felt really good to know that I broke the rule, kept this little journal of those dreams, And they showed healing and things in the dreams that I wasn't getting at that time. Sometimes you don't get what the significance of what the dream is saying.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I highly recommend, get yourself a little journal book and start writing them down. Even if you just write down like the essence of the dream, few things you saw in it, whatever might remind you of what was in the dream.
Okay. Yes. I need to do that. I've had so many people tell me I just need to start doing it because I have some pretty weird, vivid dreams that reoccur.
If you're too whatever, where you don't want to write it down for me, I like the pen and paper thing. You could use your little voice on your phone thing that has the voice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And just click it and say, oh, today's dream was I was in the bed and then somebody came in and the pouring rain was started and then I saw someone in the window that had died. And that's it.
Okay.
And that'll take you 2 seconds.
Then maybe some of these things, maybe I can connect the dots and figure out why I have them. That's kind of my thought.
Yeah, I think that's it. Or they may kind of piece together and give you a message.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Okay, let's see here. We have another question here. Have you ever done scrying? And if so, did it work?
I don't know what scrying is, and I've never done it, but I don't even know what it is.
Okay.
Do you?
It's basically kind of you use a mirror, and I believe part of it has to be kind of blacked out, and you may see things through the mirror. Is that kind of correct? I've never actually done it. I've just heard of it, and I know you have to use a mirror for it, but I've never done any of it personally.
What I have used a mirror for, though, is deflecting negativity coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was having something and I was feeling like a lot of bad energy was being directed to me. And someone told me, take a mirror and put it in the windows of your bedroom where you're sleeping to deflect any, so that, and then in shamanism, in the Huichol and in Mongolian shamans who I've been involved with both, they use mirror. A mirror is worn around you, hanging from your neck, but it's made out of brass. In the Huichols, it's an actual mirror, and it's used to talk to the spirits or to protect you from negativity coming at you when you're doing shamanic work. Mm-hmm. So those are the uses I know of mirror, but I've never done the thing she asked. Oh, and I don't know if I should mention that if anyone is interested in any of these other talks or shamanism or these things, I have a podcast right now. But
I saw that.
The best thing for me to share is my webpage.
Okay.
Because if you go to a smallmediumatlarge.co, you will find all these shows, and when you send me your link, I'll put your show there.
Perfect.
There's amazing stories I've written on the site Medium there. And there's good information.
Because that was the next thing before we started wrapping up. I was going to ask you to where people could find your information. And are you in the process, or are you wanting to write a book? Did I see something about that?
I already wrote a book called A Small Medium at
Large. Yes.
And I'm in the middle of just this. I've just approached another publisher this week that my friend Russell sent me to. And I'm going to decide, if it doesn't work out that way, if I'll just go to the self-published route like most everybody does these days. Mm-hmm. So my February is dedicated to getting that completely in the right pathway so that it can be released.
Very awesome. Very awesome. Can't wait for that. Make sure you guys check out Gail. And I will post your information, your website and stuff on our social media as well. So if people don't quite catch it on here, if we're having some kind of weird sound issue again, hopefully we're not, knock on wood, it'll be posted on our social media. It wouldn't be our show if we didn't have something every now and then that would pop up. I don't know why it does that, but it just does. Quickly, I'd like to give quick shout outs here to everybody who was in chat. We had Kim, Allison, Matt, Darren, Haunted Kentucky, sorry I'm getting hiccups, and Nick. Thank you everybody who was in chat and participating. Thank you for everybody who was not in chat but listening. We appreciate each and every one of you. Next week, we will be back with, let me get his name real quick. Oh my gosh. I love technology. I really do. Not really, but it has just been a
We'll
nightmare.
be back if we have a computer that hasn't been thrown.
What? Oh, yeah. Didn't you throw your computer?
About ready to.
She's about ready to.
Handling it all. It's giving me a good lesson that, I've
Uh-huh. You don't. You just never know anymore. You never know. You think everything, okay, you check everything is set right, and then you get on and nothing works. And you just got to kind of reel it in and just let it go and have fun with it. That's... Well, thank you. We try. So next week will be Robert Lindsay Milne. He is a psychic medium. So he's going to be on, also known as the hippie psychic. Oh my gosh, I can't even talk now. So make sure you guys join us for that. Thank you, Gail, again for being on. Like I said, we will put your information on our social media so everybody can find you. And I hope you have a great night and great weekend and happy holidays to you. Yes, absolutely. Anytime. It'll be an absolute blast to have you back on because I'm sure you have plenty more stories to discuss. Oh, yes, absolutely. Oh, man. Then now our sound just went again. Okay.
Kill the show. It's telling us something.
Thank you for listening to REP Paranormal and Friends. Be sure to check out Kim and Allison on Facebook at REP Paranormal Busters.
She is invisible. She's right. There she is. Can you see it? There she is. Yes, she hides off the camera. But yes, I don't know what's going on, but oh my goodness.